Greetings, this is James Gillen with As You Wish Talk Radio, broadcasting live from the ECETI Ranch, otherwise known as Paranormal and UFO Central. Now, contrary to a lot of the rumors going around, we are not closed. We do close down for the winter due to the snows and just the heavy weather, and we do have some weather coming in with about 8 degrees Fahrenheit and snow right behind it, so we probably will be closed down until the spring, mainly just because it's too hard to get up here on the mountain, and we always have to dig everybody out, so it's pretty hard to get up here. But anyway, we are not being closed down. We aren't closing down our work. In the newsletter that I put out, it's just saying that I'm just kind of tired of all the nonsense and disinformation and misinformation and the censorship in the UFO community and where it's going. So I've kind of removed myself from the talk circuit and from some of the other talk shows, you might say, just because of the direction that they're taking and the gross imbalance of information, where they're moving it in a very dark direction, and there's reasons why. But anyway, it seems that our powers that be need to keep a threat going, and this is the new program from them to keep the running out of countries to bomb and level and war upon, so now they're going to create an alien threat. But, they seem to be getting full cooperation of a lot of the conferences and a lot of the radio shows. So, be that as may, I'm kind of stepping out of that program and going to do my best to get the information out on this venue and other talk shows that do have integrity and, that give people a fair shake and bring out a balanced message. So I'm not saying the whole universe is friendly, but I'm saying it's more benevolent than you can imagine, and it's time to bring a balanced message out that, give the benevolent ones a chance, and let's start talking to them, because they do have the fuelless energy technology. They've transcended disease and war. They've got their environments in order, and they can help us help ourselves, you might say. So rather than continuing to work with the low-level nonsense, we should rise to the occasion and work with the more benevolent ones. But that being said, I want to welcome our new guest on tonight. William Henry is a good friend, and he's doing some amazing work out there. He's an investigative mythologist, and he's got a new book out, Freedom's Gate, and I know he's got some other DVDs out, Morph, and a few other things, but hopefully we can get him on the show and talk about these things. So, William, are you with us?
I am here, James. How you doing, man?
Great. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's really great to talk with you.
Yeah, I had one show with you a while back. We haven't seen you since the last conference here. We'll have to get you back at.
Yeah, which was an extraordinary experience. I think about it all the time. People ask me everywhere I go, "You going back to James's place? What's going on up there?" All that kind of thing. So.
Well, we are having a new conference coming up. We were thinking about not doing one. We weren't sure if we were going to do it or not because of the ways things are unfolding in the economy and everything. But we're going to give it one more shot and see what happens with the economy. And I know some of the other major conferences are calling it quits, which is interesting. So.
Go ahead. It just seems to be. I've done quite a few conferences this year, and attendance is solid at some of them, but for others, it just seems to be a time where you have to inhale, then you have to exhale, and so we seem to be in between kind of breaths right now, and I think that's a pretty good place, really, because as we head forward into 2010, it's a kind of a fresh start, new decade, and so much going on, and so much interest, and people always wanting to get together to find out what in the heck is going on. And I appreciate your comments at the start of the show, because it does just seem that there's some strange information out there, and it's absolutely appalling that some people seem to be given a platform to say just anything they want. They, like almost as if they're just making stuff up and have zero accountability and don't really seem to care about the people that they're supposed to be serving in terms of providing accurate information. And it's very troublesome to me. So I share some of your sentiment there.
Yeah, it's just amazing, some of the information I'm seeing. There's a lot of different types of people out there, and there's some that are just straight disinformation people, and they have a job to do, and they're doing a good job of it out there, and people are buying it. Yeah. And then you've got other people that are just have, overactive imaginations and very large egos and are really seeking fame and fortune. And then, there's just all kinds out there, and what's sad is it's just gotten so confused, and there's so much noise out there that the people that are really having contacts and have a message that's, hopeful, that's inspiring, that is directed towards the awakening and healing of humanity and the earth, are just being drowned out or lost in the noise. And it's gotten so noisy now that there's just no room to even go there. It's not to mention they haven't made room, so it's sad, but the people that are holding these conferences and as well as some of the talk shows and everything are just giving so much airtime and podium time to the people that are pushing a very dark scenario and a very negative message and a lot of misinformation. They seem to be getting, 98% of the podium and airtime right now.
Yeah, I mean, I talked with a person I know that is a mental health care professional even, and she had been to a recent conference in Southern California where there was some disclosure information presented and that kind of thing, and she was just, as a professional, was looking at this going, my God, I can't believe how they're just simply tormenting these people with just literal outright mind control. And she was wondering what she should do about it. I said, well, you've got to get involved. You've got to let those speakers know. You've got to let the conference organizers know that what they're doing is not only amoral, really, but it's also, I mean, it's borderline criminal. And, and that's what's really troubling about a lot of this. And I understand there's all kinds of different agendas that people can really, they have free speech. They can say whatever they want. That, I mean, they might have insider information. They might really know people that are in the so-called black world that, have access to information that ordinary individuals don't have. But at the same time, they're just not providing, one, accurate information, or two, really a safety net for people. It's kind of like what they're doing is kind of akin to running into the theater and screaming fire and then just running out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, what I've seen, too, is that what's interesting is, the mind in which you seek is the mind in which you connect. And I always feel the same way about the information. If you have a victim consciousness, or you always want to have an enemy, or you live in fear, you're going to flock to that kind of information. That's where you want to go. But if you do have more of a consciousness where you're seeking to, awaken and heal and rise to the occasion and hook up with the higher beings, that's what you're going to experience as well. And there's right now, sadly to say, the forum for the negative side and the support for the negative side is I would say 90+% right now in those venues.
Mm-hmm. So what do we do?
Good question. What I found is that, the Aikido approach is rather than attack them, just to flow around them and let them fall on their own face, which is pretty much what's happening right now. People are just walking away from this. And what I've seen over and over again when I sent out those newsletters is that I had overwhelming support. I had one negative letter back that basically tried to attack us or whatever, which was pretty unfounded what they had to say. But, I mean, I got literally hundreds and hundreds of emails back saying, thank God somebody's finally saying it. Somebody is taking them to task, and so, and everybody has that shared feeling. They're just tired of the negativity. They want to hear some good news. They want to hear the truth. They want some science behind it. They want some evidence behind it. And they're just tired of all the craziness and the disinformation and the frequency. I know some people that are really sensitive. They go to these things and they get ill. They get ill just being in that frequency, and they're going there to share and to network and hook up with people of like mind, and they think it's going to be a wonderful event, and when they get there, they just get energetically slammed.
Well, and that was also the issue that my mental health professional had too, is that some people who would go to some of these events aren't well to begin with.
Yeah.
And when they get there, they are stirred up by these people that say, "Oh, I know the date of disclosure. I have black ops people that you'll never meet that are telling me when disclosure is going to happen, and this is happening, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen," and these people just get whipped up and have nowhere to go after that, and then now they're cut loose into the streets, and it's tragic.
And, when you have the rug pulled out from under you about 10 times in a row, eventually you go, forget it. I'm not listening to any of this anymore, which is the plan.
Which is the plan, right?
Yeah, I'm noticing YouTube right now. YouTube is just getting flooded with really good footage of UFOs, and some of it is authentic, and a lot of it is CGI. And now it's just getting flooded with CGI and fake stuff now to just, again, to bury the stuff that's real. And now they're even taking NASA footage and CGI-ing it and then saying, see, all the other stuff was fake, that people showed you with the UFOs in it. So it's quite an effort. But, to me, the good news is that the reason they are doing all this other stuff is because the pressure's on and too many people have figured it out. And that's why they're working so hard to keep all this information down, because it is coming out. And, that's just an indicator. The more flack you get, the more you're over the target, and the more they're working overtime, putting out the disinformation. It means that people are figuring it out, So it's just a matter of time before they fold in on themselves.
Well, and that's why I appreciate your voice and the opportunity to chat with you about it, because I've basically been kind of on the, not really the periphery of the whole disclosure kind of idea, but it's certainly not been a central part of my work. And when you get a real good dose of it, as I have in the past, say, 3 to 6 months or so, it is kind of shocking. It's kind of alarming about what is going on. But then you see the potential of what could possibly be coming out of this. If people can embrace this in more of a positive sense, that's where it really gets inspiring. I mean, I've been my recent book on the Capitol, in a surprising way, touched on this whole idea of this possibility that we're connected with to use a Star Trek term, like a federation of various star systems that are promoting this awakening right now. And you just start to think about, well, how come when you start to look at a lot of the disclosure information and that isn't really an aspect of it? It seems like there's other parts of this that are taking precedence that aren't as really, let's just call it enlightening.
Mm-hmm. I've got a question for you. And it kind of stems from your experience here as well. Mm-hmm. But I think about it like, what self-respecting, extremely telepathic, sensitive, extremely advanced being, why would they even come to these events, which are supposed to be held in their name or whatever? And why would they even function with the military or the government, considering that all they're pushing is fear and aggression? And that's the one thing that that people, why do they go to these avenues waiting for the answer? Because the answer will